If you work private security in Delaware County, which is a county in Pennsylvania, you need to watch this video. If you work private security anywhere in the United States, you need to watch the video, because what happens in other states tends to have a trickle effect on your state. So what we have is this. We have 3 Sharon Hill police officers who arrive at a disturbance. There's some type of sporting event, and there's a disturbance in the parking lot. There's a lot of people all over the place, and there's 2 suspects, 2 individuals who are exchanging gunfire with each other. These 3 officers fear for the lives of everybody in the crowd, and they end up laying down gunfire, and unfortunately, they hit Fanta Bility, a beautiful 8-year-old girl. She succumbs to her injuries, and it's tragic. It's horrible. These 3 officers are charged for manslaughter and reckless endangerment. A few days ago, they pled guilty to reckless endangerment. And they did that so that they don't get charged with manslaughter that holds a prison term of somewhere of about 20 years. Let me tell you about the justice system. This is what prosecutors do. They throw in the biggest charge possible. The charge that will take away your liberty for a long time. And they're hoping that you just pick up and agree under a plea bargain to a smaller charge. And that's what ended up happening here. These officers are chased. They're faced with a jury who could be biased, who could be unfair, who are unfavorable to the police, and that's the gamble that they took. They rather do the 2-year prison term for reckless endangerment than a manslaughter conviction. These district attorneys right now are out of control, and I'll tell you why. By the way, this is a Democrat district attorney. I'm just throwing it out there. I don't like to talk about kids in this manner because I have an 8-year-old. But Fanta, she received numerous gunshot wounds. We don't know which officer struck her and where. We just know that 3 officers fired. There's a strong possibility that one officer fired, but because this officer's partner was able to land a hit on this 8-year-old girl, the other partners get the same charge. In every single state in the United States, the prosecutor has to prove that the defendant's conduct was the result of the victim's injuries. You have to prove that proximate cause of injury. So if you have officer number 1, number 2, and number 3 firing, officer number 1 makes impact with the victim, but officer number 3 misses. You cannot convict officer number 2 or number 3 unless you're able to prove that their rounds impacted the victim. Now, that would be for a manslaughter or involuntary manslaughter charge. For reckless endangerment, that's different. You just have to prove that that bullet recklessly endangered this person. And that's maybe why that they agreed to that charge. But why as a prosecutor, are you charging an officer for a crime you cannot prove? That is wrong. That is wrong. And for me, I don't have any confidence in the criminal justice system in Delaware County under the current leadership of that district attorney. You, as a private security officer, should be very concerned about this, because what they do to law enforcement, they are going to do to you. And this prosecutor made such a wrong decision to prosecute. And let me also tell you why. Now, I guarantee that every single law enforcement officer in Delaware County are going to hesitate during an active shooter incident. Because if I miss and I hit somebody, I'm going to be charged for manslaughter, which brings a penalty time of up to 20 years. Hell no. No, no, no. It's bad business that they charge these officers, guys. Officers in that area, they're going to do a lot less right now. Property values are going to keep going down, especially in that county, because police, they're not going to want to touch anybody out there. They're not going to want to touch your transient who's trespassing and causing a disturbance, your shoplifters, your burglary suspects. They'll respond to the scene. They'll respond to the scene in a timely manner, in a reasonable amount of time. It could be slower, but as long as it's reasonable, they're acting within the perimeters of their scope of employment. If you're a private security, you should be very concerned about this incident. And I would right now don't even work security in Delaware County. Go somewhere else. Because if you make the same mistake, it's going to happen. The same thing's going to happen to you. Train, train, train. I can't say that enough. If you are in private security, make sure that if you need to take that shot, that it's absolutely necessary. That somebody's life is in imminent danger, and that person that you're about to tag is the one that's creating that danger. Right before that shot breaks, you need to make sure what your target is and what is beyond it. What is beyond it? If you don't have that clear shot, if you don't know what's beyond the threat, then you don't take that shot. And in Delaware County, I'm almost pressed to say, just take cover. Just take cover, because you already seen what happened to those officers. If you're a police officer, you're a law enforcement officer in Delaware County, I encourage you to do the same thing. Take cover and assess the situation. Unfortunately, innocent lives are going to be at risk because of two other people who are taking shots at each other. But you can only do so much. You don't want to end up like these three officers. Train, you guys. Train, train, train. If you're in private security, you got to be training. Make sure that you go to a training vendor that offers shoot and no shoot scenarios. That's all I have. I pray for you guys who are in Delaware County. You're in Pennsylvania. Horrible. Let me know what your thoughts are on this.